Barry Lyndon, a film by Stanley Kubrick, starring Ryan O'Neal and Marissa Berenson, has won the Best Picture and Best Director award.
Don't worry, as soon as I put this on the schedule, I knew exactly what I was doing for my opener.
How much money you got? A lot. How many problems you got? A lot. How many people that doubted? A lot. Left you out to rot? A lot. How many credit you flaw? A lot. How many lawyers you got? A lot. How many times
This is gonna be so good when I can hear it.
How many times did you ride? A lot. How many niggas done died? A lot. How many times did you cheat? A lot. How many times did you lie? A lot. How many times did you leave? A lot. How many times did she cry? A lot. How many chances she done gave you? Fuck around with these guys.
Hi,
I'm sure that was really
Bomb
good.
Squad Matinee. Did it not come through on Discord at all?
Not much of
Not
it.
at all.
Oh, good. I was playing the opening lyrics to 21 Savages a lot.
You gotta. I see.
There was a very famous fan cam of the movie we're talking about today that honestly kind of sums up the 3-hour movie very well. Cody, I'll send that to you. Maybe you'll like it better than the movie that you said was the worst movie you've ever seen. But we're not talking about Barry Lyndon yet. Hi, welcome to Bomb Squad Matinee. I'm Tanner Richard Kraft, and with me I have...
Hi, I'm an Irish upstart, Austin Sweebleman.
Hi, I'm Sydney Russell.
Hi, I'm part 2, containing an account of the misfortune and disaster of the fall Cody season.
You guys always have the bits ready, and I never think about it until I'm here and I just say my name.
Say
I'm
my
glad you're
name,
here.
say my name. Sydney Russell is the Beyonce of Bomb Squad.
I'm actually Redmond Sydney.
It's true.
Redmond Beyonce.
Redmond
Barry Lyndon
Beyonce.
2025. So they're going to remake Barry Lyndon. It's going to be directed by Tyler Perry, and it's going to star Beyonce. Who there for it?
Or it's gonna be like the Clint Eastwood Beyonce A Star Is Born that was apparently supposed to happen, but thankfully never did.
I've heard about that. I desperately wish that movie existed. It would be a train wreck, but beautiful. And speaking of train wrecks, Barry Lyndon as a person, he's a bit of a train wreck as a person. He's a guy that sucks. So in the spirit of that question, I pose to you, my fellow panelists, what's your favorite movie about a guy who sucks? We'll start with Cody, who is also a guy who sucks.
I don't know why they hate me, guys. I don't know. I haven't said a word yet.
You fucked my wife.
I did, but like, get over it.
That's basically what Barry Lyndon does in this movie.
I had a bit of trouble with this question because I realize I haven't really watched a lot of movies with people who just flat out suck. And the movie I'm about to choose, it's kind of debatable if the person who's the main lead sucks, but he is a bum, so I'm gonna go with it. Charlie Chaplin's The Circus. That is my pick today because I needed to do an oldie. Haven't talked about an oldie in a while. Probably my favorite Charlie Chaplin movie as of right now. I haven't seen all of them yet, but it was the first one that I got exposed to. Just amazing visual comedy, just an amazing set design, just all around one of the funniest silent films of the era. Back to you, Tanner.
All right. Good. I haven't seen that one. I'm gonna be honest. I'm surprised you didn't find a way to work in Mac and Me.
If I called that kid like a loser, I think that'd be ableist. So I'm not touching.
Yeah,
that
but
one.
like he is a loser.
No, he's not. He gets the girl.
Yeah, he kinda
He's
sucks.
friends with an alien.
Listen, people in wheelchairs, just bad people. Fundamentally bad people. If you can't walk.
Well, I know your favorite scene in the movie.
I'm sorry, I can't say that. I don't mean that. I love the wheelchairs.
Choose the next person.
Austin, what's your favorite movie about a guy who sucks, and why is it the documentary about my life?
If I had to answer this question with like 100% honesty, I'd just say Citizen Kane. Really, this warm-up
Good
question,
answer.
more than most, had me disqualifying like my actual favorites because we've either like talked about them before or because all my answers are like peak Reddit. Like you could hit a guy with the 2008 IMDb top 250 shuffle with this shit. You could be like A Clockwork Orange or American Psycho, Taxi Driver. So I'm gonna hit you guys with my sort of like sort of underappreciated novelty pick, which is still a fairly mainstream, and by mainstream movies, by no means am I like coming in hot with fucking Shadows of Forgotten Ancestors or something. My pick is the 2003 Patty Jenkins film Monster. And for an extremely long time, Charlize Theron's performance as serial killer Eileen Wuornos was my favorite performance an actress ever put to screen. It's mind-blowing that this is a debut feature, and it's even more impossible to believe that the director who did this did both Wonder Woman films. And I get why this movie has like lost some popularity in recent years. In spite of being set in 1989, this movie is so 2000-aughts. The grunge realism aesthetic, you've got ironic narration from the protagonists, queer representation that is only good for tragedy and sex scenes. But it's really well paced. The acting is beyond exceptional. And I don't think any other movie humanizes a death row serial killer this effectively. It's a harrowing ride through the bowels of Florida and the fucked up situations that state creates. That's my pick. Back to you, Tanner.
Great answer. Good movie. Charlize Theron is fantastic in that movie. It's,
Sad?
My brain just like turned off. I'm not gonna lie.
I was waiting on the edge of my seat for what you were going to say.
The bit.
Mid-sentence, I just forgot what I was saying. I'm not gonna lie. I literally forgot the previous words that came out of my mouth, and I was just like,
Hell yeah.
Sydney, what's your favorite movie about a guy that sucks?
I really struggled with this question a lot because I think the parameters of like sucking is really a wide net that we're casting, because does that mean, Oscar Isaac's character in The Card Counter, who is doing like has a history of war crimes and like torturing people, or are we talking about like a guy who's mean to his friends, like The Diary of a Wimpy Kid? I don't know why that was what came to my mind, but he sucks.
That was gonna be my answer as a joke. I was gonna say Diary of a Wimpy Kid is like a joke. I'm not kidding. I had it prepared.
I'm sorry, I stole your punchline.
No, I'm happy that someone else said it. It means I'm vindicated.
Oh my god.
Greg Heffley, kill yourself.
Yeah, this is not a Greg friendly zone. This is not a Greg friendly zone. That being said, I'm going to choose an answer that has two people kind of sucking, but kind of for completely different reasons and for kind of understandable reasons, or at least reasons I can empathize with. And I'm going to say Amadeus by Milos Forman because... because...
Great answer.
Obviously, Herr Salieri kind of sucks. He's a very bitter man. He's very jealous. He's just kind of a curmudgeon the entire film, and he treats the women in his life and the men, Mozart, pretty terribly because he feels entitled to a certain level of greatness that he just wasn't really able to naturally achieve. And I can empathize with him to a certain extent because it is probably unimaginably hard to have to be peers with someone who is naturally a prodigy. I can't imagine that my fragile ego would be able to withstand someone way younger than me, way less experienced than me, just coming in here and naturally kicking my ass in every single endeavor that I've ever strived for. So I get it, but it's, and I know that's a fictionalized account of what actually really probably happened, but he is kind of a bad guy. He sucks, even if I can kind of understand the kernel of why. But on the flip side of that, I think Mozart is very socially unaware of how he treats those around him, and he kind of waltzes in and is very like, well, I'm me, so why would anyone ever have any type of problem with that? I know that movie is like, as I said, a fictionalized account, but it has the sauce. There is so much intrigue and drama because they are just two different types of people that, yeah, that's one of my favorite films of all time. So I'm going to say that one. Back to you, Tanner.
Great answer. I do just want to point out and say that Mozart walking in like I'm hot shit and everything, I'm the thing. It does make him a dick, but at the same time, if you are in fact Amadeus Mozart, history will vindicate your behavior in that regard.
It's true.
Yeah, but have
if
you
anyone
heard his
has the
laugh?
right to say it, yeah, his laugh is. So you can't hate him for it, but I can understand the resentment that might build if you are not as talented, especially because Salieri seemingly was pretty talented. He just wasn't on the same level, but who is?
For sure. All right. So, my time to shine. Hello. You might think it's impossible for Tanner to pull up a random list of movies that fit this criteria, and you'd think wrong. I, in fact, have a random list of movies that fit this criteria from cracked.com, a website that Austin hasn't thought of for at least 5 years, but used to be one of his favorite websites.
You're wrong.
Am I right in that assumption?
No, you're wrong. I
Oh.
follow a lot of those people in their current endeavors. I love Behind the Bastards. I follow Katie and Cody. I think about crack.com a lot.
Listen, crack.com used to be like the go-to thing to make fun of in the early 2010s, where it's like, this thing you never noticed about this movie.
Yep.
Like, crack.com was like the fucking, like, that was the website you'd read the fucking Daniel is the villain in the Karate Kid bullshit.
Yeah.
That was
pretty
very
spot on.
WatchMojo.com for me. WatchMojo was.
Oh, God. So I got some great answers from crack.com. We got Uncut Gems. Disagree. Howie is an American hero. Howie did nothing wrong.
Alright, good
Howie
start.
is a perfect little angel. The Social Network. That's pretty accurate. Wolf of Wall Street. True. Gone Girl. I agree. Barbarian. I guess. Kinda. This one's funny. Sex in the City. 2008. This is
go.
all on this list.
We're talking about Sex in the City. Let's go.
Nightcrawler, which might very well be my answer. Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Sideways from 2004. The Green Knight. Little Shop of Horrors, parentheses,
Green Knight?
specifically
Yeah,
the
what?
scene with Steve Martin in it. Green Knight is about a guy that sucks learning not to suck.
It's been a minute
Is
since
Sean-
I've
is
seen
Sean
that. I don't
on the
remember
list?
him sucking.
Yeah. I think...
Well, he's kind of a chauvinistic kind of asshole, isn't he?
Maybe
High
I was
fidelity.
just too busy looking at him because he's so cute.
That's fair. He's a beautiful man. I'm also would like to let you guys know about the reddit.com r/letterbox community that
Nah, I'm
lists
good.
the answer of movie about a guy that sucks. Deep Throat.
But that's not technically correct. With the exact
No, that is
syntax.
very correct. Guy, that's actually exactly correct, Austin, if you think about it.
I didn't know that about Deep Throat. That's crazy. I haven't actually seen the movie.
The porno. It's a porno.
Yeah,
I'm talking about a porno.
Yeah, but it's about a guy who sucks, right?
Guy can be, listen, Sydney's a guy. Guy can be gender neutral.
Thanks.
All right, what's next?
Eileen Mornow's the guy.
I'm gonna go with the movie that I briefly considered for my answer. I briefly considered saying American Beauty, but then honestly decided I didn't want to talk about American Beauty that much. But I mean, the main character goes through a midlife crisis because he's like, man, my daughter's 16-year-old friend is really hot. Who among us? Hopefully none of us.
It's so inappropriate.
Who among us? Hopefully none of us. Last one from the crack.com article that honestly I love so much as an answer, which is the 2004 documentary film Metallica, Some Kind of Monster, which is about the making of Metallica's, I don't know what studio album it was, but it was Saint Anger. Yeah, I know it was Saint Anger. I don't remember what number it was, which is one of the worst fucking albums ever.
I'm changing my answer.
To Metallica, Some Kind of Monster.
That is my
and you're gonna
answer
watch
now.
a bunch of grown-ass men bitch, whine, and moan at each other, about each other, and about the radio, and about Napster.
It's so awesome.
Topical.
Napster is very topical. I agree. But at the end of the day,
It is to me.
I think my answer to this, if we want to get really relevant, it's a movie from last year that stars Sebastian Stan and Jeremy Strong. I am talking about the 2024 movie The Apprentice, which is a movie about the rise of Donald Trump. You want to talk about a guy that sucks? Boy, that guy blows. And Sebastian Stan gives like a career-defining performance in it, in a performance that, like, while correctly identifies the evil in Trump, he's able to find the human in the monster as we see that human become the monster. It's a fantastic movie that I really recommend, especially nowadays. It's kind of cathartic, I guess, watching a movie where it's like, yeah, he sucks. And the guy that makes him also suck. Jeremy Strong, by the way, plays
Roy Cohn, I think.
Roy Cohn.
Ray Cohn, who is a character in another great piece of American fiction. Ray Cohn is a character in Angels in America.
The best show ever made. Here. My favorite piece of media of all time. Genuinely, Al Pacino's best work ever. Roy Cohn. Oh my god. Anyway.
Jeremy Strong is great as Ray Cohn too, and Ray Cohn is one of the most fascinating figures in American history, especially given the fact that now, with the benefit of hindsight, he is maybe one of the most influential figures in American history in a way that we did not know. And I think Jeremy Strong, knowing that gravitas and weight, lends an interesting note to the performance. It's really great work. I can't recommend the movie enough. But in all seriousness, my favorite movie about a guy that sucks is Barry Lyndon, which is also my favorite Stanley Kubrick movie. It is one of my all-time favorite movies, therefore.
Mr. Redmond Barry, the last occasion on which we met, you wantonly caused me injury and dishonor in such a manner and to such an extent as to which no gentleman can willingly suffer without demanding satisfaction, however much time intervenes. I have now come to claim that satisfaction.
Let's get into it. What do you guys think of Barry Lyndon? We'll start with Cody.
Man, you can't make me go twice. No, choose someone else.
No.
It's you.
Someone else.
It was always you.
It's you, Cody. We're starting with you because you said, and I quote, worst movie ever.
You can't just lie on the internet.
Who would
You can't just
Who would do that?
Who would do that? All right, fine. I'll go. Will you fiddle your dick mic over there? All right. Barry Lyndon. I mean, Stanley Kubrick. A man who needs no introduction. I mean, 2001: A Space Odyssey, A Clockwork Orange, The Shining, Full Metal Jacket. Many aspiring directors would kill to have even one of those movies in their catalog, let alone 4. But right in between all of those great movies is a curious little Barry Lyndon. I never heard of this movie before, being tossed into the fire known as the Bomb Squad schedule. And I was very curious about it. I actually talked to one of my co-workers. Sometimes I shoot the shit about movies I'm going to watch. And I remember there was something he said. I forgot the exact words, but it was something along the lines of like the shots in this movie feel like art, like a painting, like moving. And I couldn't agree anymore. It is such a pretty movie to look at. Like, shots are so well composed, and the coloring and all that good stuff that Austin loves is just, it's so beautiful to look at, and it is one of like the prettiest looking films I've seen this year. And I know there's a lot of like technical hurdles that this movie has gone through, something that I am not qualified to try to explain to you people. I'm sure someone else will. But I know there's like the big scene with like the what was it? It was with the candles and how it's really hard to shoot that. There was also the scene where during the fight where like they had to like do handheld shots before like you can really do that. Very impressive work. It was really, going through this movie, it was really weird because like it feels like a genuine like documentary kind of movie. Like I almost thought this was like based on a real person. I had to look it up. It's not based on a real person. It's inspired by some events, but like the actual character isn't a real movie. The actual character is real. I guess I meant to say. If you're wondering why I'm stumbling and bumbling about my current discussions, because I didn't really like care for the movie. This isn't really my kind of movie. And I think that's just
Everyone boo this man. Boo!
All right, yeah. All your audio suppressed boos. Thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, like, I wouldn't say there's like anything objectively bad. I just think it's a movie that just goes on for way too long, and I don't really like movies that are long and sluggish. I mean, I can enjoy. I mean, we literally did a podcast about a movie that was 3 hours like 2 episodes ago, and I loved that movie. This movie, on the other hand, I don't know. It's mainly, it's just too slow. And, you know, when it's 3 hours long, I'm glad I watched it. I don't think I'll ever watch it a second time. That's kind of my 2 cents. I know I don't really have a lot to say, but that's because, like, I did also watch this at, like, 8 p.m. at, like, on a very sketchy website that I won't accidentally name because I don't want people to go to it on accident.
It was some Russian website.
It was some Russian website because Barry Lyndon ain't streaming anywhere. And Lord knows I'm not going to go and buy it on a whim just for this. Especially since I didn't really care for it too much. But let's move on to someone who does care about it, shall we? Back to you, Tanner.
So tell me more about the people you've killed.
There's one in the closet.
Oh.
Gay Austin, what did you think of Barry Lyndon?
Yeah, to swing the complete opposite direction. So there's a lot of background here. The very first Kubrick picture I ever saw was 2001: A Space Odyssey, and I was 10 years old. Followed swiftly by A Clockwork Orange, Full Metal Jacket, The Shining, Dr. Strangelove, Eyes Wide Shut, in that order. And throughout my years as a teenage cinephile, where I embarrassingly had posters for A Clockwork Orange and Fight Club hung up in my bedroom. One thing that remained constant was I did not want to watch Barry Lyndon. Somewhere along the way, I developed the impression that this was like 3 hours of tedium with like one duel at the end that everybody spoke very highly of. Eventually, though, in my late 20s, I sat down and like watched this for the first time. And not only was I wrong about the number of duels in the film, but I couldn't have possibly been more mistaken in my assumption that this film was tedious. But I actually don't regret, like, viewing Kubrick's films in this order, because I genuinely don't think my 10-year-old self would have had, like, the necessary intellect and life experience needed to appreciate something of this caliber. While a lot of people might say, like, Eyes Wide Shut is the natural place to end a Kubrick marathon, if we're deciding by, like, the order in which they were theatrically released, I think people should say Barry Lyndon for last, because it's absolutely the best thing he ever made. One distinct quality about the films that Kubrick made during, like, his specific 35-year stint as a writer-director guy was how no two films were alike. Like, he made a comedy, he made two very different sci-fi pictures, a period drama, a slasher, a war movie, and an erotic thriller. And as much of, like, a storytelling chameleon as this guy was, Stanley Kubrick left a certain fingerprint on his films, because he played more of a part in various aspects of production than a lot of directors do. He was a socially isolated person, and a shameless formalist. And this led to almost all of his greatest pictures having kind of a cold, detached quality. There was this 1998 interview where Jacques Rivette said that he is a mutant who has no human feelings whatsoever. But then, in the very middle of Kubrick's famous 7-film run, you got Barry Lyndon. A film he made because his fucking legendary Napoleon biopic fell through, and it was, like, best not to let all that historical research go to waste. For starters, Barry Lyndon is unbelievably funny. It makes me laugh more than Dr. Strangelove. Kubrick treats 18th century formality like an elaborate cosmic joke. Every slow zoom outward exposes how fucking tiny and ridiculous these characters are within the pompous environments they try so hard to uphold. The tension between how seriously everybody behaves and how insane their actions are is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. But it's also a deeply sad movie about wasted chances and unspoken pain, mostly in the second half. Scorsese once said that Barry Lyndon is a profoundly emotional experience, and I wholeheartedly agree with that shit. Which isn't to say that, like, Kubrick's trademark formalism is not present here. Watching the film, this film is the most I have ever felt transported into another time. Just as, like, Lord of the Rings kind of towers over all other fantasy movies through, like, the sheer merits of its unrivaled fucking production value, Barry Lyndon puts every other period piece to shame. Nearly like every master shot has framing or blocking that was inspired by some part of a famous painting. You got shit like Marriage a la Mode by William Hogarth, Smoking Party by Paul Kyle Legab, Mr. and Mrs. Andrews by Thomas Gainsborough. They rented 18th century clothing from museums so the costume designers could replicate them exactly. And of course, you know, we got the famous bit where Kubrick filmed the nocturnal scenes by candlelight, right? And I wanted to take a moment to reflect on that. So Kubrick influenced the moon landing by making 2001: A Space Odyssey. The special effects in that film led to this conspiracy that he directed the moon landing footage from in a studio. But then, in the October 1969 issue of American Cinematographer, covering the actual stuff they used for the moon landing, Kubrick finds out that Zeiss made a lens for shooting in the low light conditions of space. And that led to this film! It's like a funny circle. Anyway, yeah, I felt it was important to sacrifice like some time that could have been spent highlighting this film's specific triumphs, because for me, Barry Lyndon is so successful due to the way it stands out in Kubrick's wider catalog. This is the most relatable film Kubrick ever made, where the main attraction are like, you know, silly human emotions instead of like the presence of some larger malevolent force. I care for it quite a lot. But I also think that the teenagers that, like, love the first half of Full Metal Jacket should wait until they're older before watching this. When you're ready for it, Barry Lyndon is the most rewarding Kubrick film by, like, a mile. It's my first, I think, 10 out of 10 on this show. I fucking love this movie. Tanner, back to you.
Great stuff, great stuff. I agree completely. Sydney, what do you think of Barry Lyndon?
Well, Austin, you took a lot of the words out of my mouth, including the fact that I also had A Clockwork Orange poster in my room when I was growing up.
Red Flag City over here.
Yeah, it's I think there was a certain 60s and 70s psychedelic je ne sais quoi that film and book had that I was really into growing up. I mean, my favorite band at the time, and still kind of symbolically to this day, is Pink Floyd. And there's an Adam Hartmother vinyl cover in the film of A Clockwork Orange. So I was like, well, of course, this is like my movie. It's my movie. And I even dressed up as Alex for Halloween when I was a senior in high school.
Oh, big red
and my
flag.
friend, yeah, ooh, not my, you know. Now I kind of understand a little bit more the broader implications of doing things like that. But at the time I was like, it's a cool character that I like. And my friend dressed up as Mia from Pulp Fiction, and we thought we were the coolest kids in the school. But anyway, so for the longest time, even a little bit into adulthood, I was kind of clinging on to the idea that A Clockwork Orange was my favorite Kubrick, even though there were parts of me that was like, I don't know if it's true anymore. I don't know if that is reflective of my reality at this point in time. And there was a lot of a time where I was starting to think, it's probably Barry Lyndon. Objectively, it's Barry Lyndon, I think. But there was just a part of me that was like, some cost fallacy. A Clockwork Orange was like the thing. I don't even, at this point in time, I'm a little removed from it. I still see the inherent value to it, but I don't know exactly why it was something that I gravitated so heavily towards when I was younger. But I've always really liked Barry Lyndon, but this was the first time that I rewatched it in quite a while, and I was just blown away by how objectively and instantly I was watching, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is my favorite Kubrick. There's just no question. I don't think any of them come even close, and especially not A Clockwork Orange at this point. I still care about it. It still is one of those early formative movies for me, but it is funny that happened that way. the sheer magnitude of Barry Lyndon is something that cannot be understated. I mean, the costume design, everything being so beautifully lit. I don't know how, but it seems like Stanley Kubrick harnessed the power of the sun to just be perfectly where it needed to be in every scene. It's like the sun was a character because the lighting was just, the natural lighting was just, oh my gosh, chef's kiss. I always really like a picaresque story where it's kind of a guy that just goes through society and adventures kind of befall him. I like to think of this film as kind of like the thinking man's Forrest Gump, because he's just a guy to which some things just kind of happen to. I think a lot of the question of this movie is really what is up to fate and what is directly in response to our own choices. I mean, for instance, he encounters Captain Feeney early on in the story, and then he says, "No, I'm not going to get dinner with you. I don't want to get robbed," and then gets robbed by him anyway. So I know that there are some things that are pretty unavoidable in this story, but a lot of it is also, hey, you probably didn't have to do it that way. You probably could have gotten yourself out of some circumstances if you just done the things a little bit differently. But the main draw of this movie to me is, it's exactly what you said, Austin. It's the first time really ever where I didn't really feel like I was watching a period piece. I felt like I was watching a film that just was made in the 1770s. Like I was there. I mean, I mentioned Amadeus earlier, and I love Milos Forman. He is obviously the voice of Czech New Wave cinema for a reason, and I love him, and I love Amadeus. But even that movie to me reads a little bit dated, endearingly so, but just a little bit like 80s does the past a little bit in a expert way. But this movie to me is almost weirdly timeless in that I don't feel like it was made in 1975. I don't feel like that. It doesn't make sense that it was made to me at that time, and it doesn't make sense if I found out it was made this year either, because it just doesn't seem right. It doesn't have a time to me. It just is so accurate to my imagination. Obviously I was not alive then, but it's what I can only picture as just being like, wow, that is just what it was like. I really love this movie. It was so special. I think Ryan O'Neal was a really interesting sleeper choice to play Barry Lyndon, because I don't know who else could have played it, but also maybe other people could have. I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I love Paper Moon. And so it's kind of like seeing a completely different side of him as an actor. And yeah, I have so many thoughts and so little to say at the same time. So I'm going to send it back to you, Tanner.
Great stuff, Sydney. I do agree. I think Ryan O'Neal is obviously the star of the show here, but I find this to be a career-defining performance. Though I question how much of it is really a performance, only in the sense that if you ever look at Ryan O'Neal's Wikipedia page, there's a very long controversy section, and you look into how he treated his wives and his children. Here's what I'll say about Ryan O'Neal. Ryan O'Neal attended the funeral of the mother of his children, and then attempted to flirt with his daughter because he did not recognize her.
Oh man, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's the kind of person Ryan O'Neal is.
Makes Paper Moon a lot less pleasant when you think about it.
Oh my God. Very, it was in fact the same daughter for Paper Moon.
Yeah.
So,
It's the youngest Oscar winner of all time, by the way. Youngest
Yep.
Oscar winner ever, Tatum O'Neal.
And at that point, Ryan O'Neal hadn't seen Tatum O'Neal in such a long time that he did not recognize her anymore.
That's some Redmond Barry shit, if I've ever heard it.
It is so Barry Lyndon, it hurts. I will also say Ryan O'Neal was not Stanley Kubrick's first choice of the part. I'll say this by saying, Kubrick, in order to get the funding from Warner Brothers, part of the agreement was that he had to cast one of the top 10 box office stars from the last year. So there was actually a limited list of people, because that list included a bunch of older men or men that were flat out unsuited for the part, and also Barbra Streisand, who, listen, maybe Barbra Streisand could pull it off, but I don't know if the audience would buy it. So that left him with two choices. His second choice was Ryan O'Neal. But the other name on that list that he thought could have played Barry Lyndon was God rest his soul, he recently passed away, Robert Redford.
Jeremiah
Robert
Johnson.
Redford was almost Barry Lyndon. And I have a hot take. I think Ryan O'Neal did a better job than Redford would have in this part. This specific part. Only because Ryan O'Neal, listen, Robert Redford, he's charming. He's handsome. He's effortlessly handsome. There are stories about Robert Redford where he's talking about women with guys, and someone asked Robert Redford, well, what do you do if the woman turns you down? And Robert Redford didn't understand what he meant by that question. Because Robert Redford was like, woman turning me down? What are you talking about? That's a thing that happens?
Never seen it.
Robert Redford was effortlessly charming and handsome. Ryan O'Neal is a good-looking guy. Don't get me wrong. He is a handsome guy. But he's the kind of handsome guy where you see him, you go, what's up with that? No, I don't know. There's something I don't trust here.
I think it's an appropriate casting choice because I think he is just hot enough that he's not like, whoa, oh my God, that is the hottest guy I've ever seen, and a distractingly gorgeous man in a setting where everyone else looks, I mean, I will say Lady Lyndon, oh my goodness, what a beautiful, beautiful woman.
Woo, mama.
Oh my God. But he is just attractive enough to have gotten by relatively well on his looks, but not so much so that Barry Lyndon is like having life made. And I think Robert Redford might have been too Americanly beautiful for the role.
Robert Redford is too hot for it because people would see Robert Redford and be like, women should be throwing themselves at him. And they'd be right to think that women should be throwing themselves at Robert Redford in this movie.
He directed
Like,
Ordinary People, so I'll throw myself there.
Like at the beginning, no, same. At the beginning of the movie, first off, you want to know what the type of movie Barry Lyndon is? You want to know what this kind of movie is? This movie starts with Barry Lyndon being like, yo, I want to fuck my cousin so goddamn bad. I need to fuck my cousin. I need to fuck my goddamn cousin. Please, I am so horny for my cousin. You could cut that out of context of me just saying that and ruin me.
Man, the next Bomb Squad short is looking really weird.
Yeah. Tanner gets canceled. Listen, let's get out of the way. For me, I love movies about like epic stories about one guy and the rise and the fall. I love the idea of the great man, and I love the deconstruction of it. Barry Lyndon is not so much a great man as he is just a guy that consistently fails upwards his entire life. But at the same time, there's a sense of skill there. I mean, obviously he fails upwards, but he's quick on his feet. You know, he has a brain. He just sort of gets complacent once he gets rich. But like, he kind of did successfully gold dig his ass into high society. And I find that interesting. Ryan O'Neal's performance conquers it. This movie's fucking beautiful to look at. I was very lucky. Earlier this year, the High Point Theater here in St. Louis screened a 35 millimeter film print of Barry Lyndon. And it was gorgeous. Oh my God. It was a pristine print with just the right amount of scratches and dirt. Oh my God, those candlelight scenes on a 35 millimeter film print were to die for. God, there's so much I want to say about this movie. It's my favorite Stanley Kubrick movie. Kubrick, you know, he loves making movies about guys that suck on some level, or just these guys that, like, I don't know. Barry, you know, Stanley Kubrick been making movies about dudes, you know? You know, Eyes Wide Shut, that's a movie about a dude, you know? The Shining, dude. Blades of Glory. No, wait, no, hold on.
Blades of Glory.
Speaking of
Come back to us, Tanner.
Oh, I didn't know he did that. That's crazy.
Stanley, it was his last movie. Fun fact, a lot of people think it was Eyes Wide Shut. It was actually Blades of Glory. No, I could track that. Didn't one of Stanley? Is it one of Stanley Kubrick's
Paths of
favorite
Glory?
movies in the
Paths
last
of
years
Glory.
of his? I was thinking of Paths of Glory, yeah. But in Stanley Kubrick's last years of lives, I'm pretty sure I remember he said "White Men Can't Jump" is a masterpiece. Isn't that him? Isn't that Stanley Kubrick that think White Men Can't Jump is like one of the greatest movies ever made?
This your man?
Am I making that up? Hold on, I'm Googling it. Yeah, I'll just be quick with it. This is my favorite Stanley Kubrick movie. Everything that Sydney and Austin say, I agree with. Everything Cody said he should be killed for. And we'll be right back at you after a brief commercial break. But before we go to that brief commercial break, I'm looking up Stanley Kubrick White Men. Oh, it Google autocompletes. That's a good sign.
Yeah. He said it was one of
Here
his
we go.
favorite
Vanity
films.
Fair. Stanley Kubrick considered White Men Can't Jump one of his favorite films. And people look at me and say I'm crazy for liking the movie Celtic Pride. Also a basketball movie. Don't look up anything. Commercial.
Sir Richard, this pistol must be faulty. I must have another one.
I'm sorry, Lord Bullingdon, but you must first stand your ground and allow Mr. Lyndon his turn to fire.
That is correct, Lord Bullingdon. Your pistol has fired, and that counts as your shot.
No. Wait. Wait.
Welcome back from that commercial break for another commercial. See this shit? I can touch it now. I can fondle it. I can stroke it. That's a movie palette. Basically what it does is it takes your the primary color of every frame of a movie, slaps it up into these little slices, and puts it on a canvas for your viewing pleasure. That is one for the movie Punch Drunk Love, one of my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson movies, and a beautiful pastel one to have on your wall. But you can get one for that movie, for Stanley Kubrick's Barry Lyndon, any other one of Stanley Kubrick's movies. Do Paths of Glory. I'm sure the very dark, low contrast black and white movie will look amazing on a movie palette. Whatever movie you want, add it to your cart before you check out. Enter Squad 15 to save 15% on your order. Thank you so much for watching, and now back to the show. They custom made a lens for this movie, guys. Did you know this? This movie used a lens with an f-stop of 0.7.
It's the biggest aperture, the widest aperture of any film lens ever.
That's
I need you to understand. I have in my possession a like over $1,000 portrait lens. It is a high-level photography lens that has a very low f-stop, and the lowest that f-stop can go on that expensive over $1,000 lens is 1.4.
Yeah.
And this one's half that. That's fucking insane.
That's scary, actually.
They needed that for this the candle. Contrary to popular belief, there were actually some artificial lights used in this movie, but never during the scenes lit by candle. The candlelit scenes were entirely lit by candle. So they needed that super low aperture, super wide lens to get that shit shot. And I mean, the results speak for themselves. It looks fucking incredible. It's some of the most gorgeous frames ever put to film.
One thing they did for the candle scene to sort of intensify the light was they would put reflective surfaces up on the ceiling, basically, just like bounce cards really high up on the ceiling. And one of the reasons was, and this must have been so stressful to work on, they were filming in these priceless locations, these very real, like, rich people houses. And the candles were these special candles with 3 wicks per candle. So they burn down really fast. They create a lot of wax and a lot of smoke. So they had to find some way to increase the light because it was already a shit show. Like, we're about to get wax all over this, you know, like, multi-million-dollar mansion every time that they do like a take. So they would put reflective shit on the surfaces. You can see on, like, the Blu-ray special features some of the people from the camera department, and they were rightfully very stressed out about having to shoot this way. It was more complicated than you'd expect, even with the fancy space lens.
Imagine keeping the continuity of the candle length from shot to shot.
Well, part of that was helped is that Stanley Kubrick had like custom made candles.
Yep.
With 3 wicks instead of 1.
So they were burning pretty fast.
Well, yeah, it was burning pretty fast. It was 3 wicks so they wouldn't have to keep replacing the candles.
There are scenes with, like, you know, dozens of candles in the background. I gotta look up who the continuity person on this is, and like, I want to know what they went on to do.
The continuity person of this movie, hold on, I'm looking up. The continuity person of this movie was Bill Clinton.
What's he been up
No.
to since this movie?
Not much.
Playing sax.
Yeah.
Playing lots
You think
of
Barry
saxophone.
Lyndon goes to Epstein's
saxophone.
Island? Yes, no.
I mean, like, I think the answer speaks for itself.
Sorry,
I
you
would
brought up
say
Bill
yes.
Clinton, and my mind started wandering. Barry
would
Lyndon do
say-
pedophilia? Yes or no?
I would say he would go.
This is not
just to
funny. Why am
see-
I joking about this?
Bring us back home.
Sydney, help me. Help us.
I was just. That's an interesting question. I think he's just so opportunistic that he would go where he found like money and prowess of some sort. But I don't think he would enjoy it. But what do I?
No, I do. Barry
think
Lyndon
he'd be
would be
like,
the type
"Oh,
of guy
this
that
might be
goes
too
to
much."
like. It's like, have you got? There's that fucking episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where like the Danny DeVito character goes, "Yes, I went to Epstein's Island, but it's because it was an excellent vacation spot. I didn't know about the pedophilia happening around the corner." Like, I feel like that'd be Barry Lyndon. He'd be there as like to try and like smooze it with the high society people, unaware that like monstrous acts are happening around the corner.
With his full, like 1800s, 1700s attire and everything.
Barry Lyndon time travel, yes or no? Who in it?
He'd be
Who
like,
in for
"What's
the
a
Barry
plane?
Lyndon
How did
time
I get here?"
travel? He's like, what the fuck is happening? I would love to put like a guy from the 1700s on a plane. They would probably shit themselves, don't you think?
A little bit.
Yeah.
That'd be terrifying. Because first off, they look like giant steel dragons, kinda. Then you get on it, and then you start flying. I'd be like, what the fuck?
What you could do is you could disguise it as that Leonardo da Vinci thing with the spinny like little pinwheel on top. And then
I was just trying to make it like make sense to them.
Yeah, this is a Da Vinci flying machine, and they're on like Pan Am. They feel safe.
Yeah.
Toss them some peanuts.
Let's bring it back to the movie. Fun fact: did you guys know that Stanley Kubrick started producing this movie in Ireland, but then had to move the production to England? Austin, it looks like you know why. Cody and Sydney, do you guys know why?
No, I actually do not.
It's because the IRA threatened him.
And his family.
What?
He directed a movie that depicted English soldiers in Ireland. And that was a no-go for them, so they put out a hit on him and his family, essentially.
A hit?
Yeah.
Okay.
The word on the street, he was on the IRA hit list.
Wow.
Yeah. They were filming this like in the middle, like one of the worst years of the Troubles. And the IRA came after them, so they had to flee home. But at least they got the footage, you know? There's a good amount of this set in Ireland. I think they succeeded.
Yeah, they had to cut a lot of scenes out because of that, because I don't think they finished filming those scenes. But they did get a lot of footage in, and, you know, on the one hand, that's bad. But on the other hand, Kenneth Branagh's Belfast must be happening simultaneously with the filming of this movie.
It's also got
Who's
like
thought
a,
of Belfast in the last 5 years?
I
Just me?
saw it in theaters and I did not remember it existed until you said it just now.
I saw it. I saw it because it was that year. It was Sliff's opening night film.
I was
that
there.
year.
I was there
Oh, so
for
you were
that.
there too.
That was where I saw it. Mhm.
Yeah. I remember loving it, and Austin and I doing the "open up your eyes" to each other for the next 2 years. And I don't think I think we forgot where it came from at some point.
so good. The whole having to flee Ireland thing is nice. There's a self-similarity to it because Barry also has to flee Ireland under threat of violence. And they had to... It was mostly to get in character. This was all a ruse by Kubrick. He was playing 5D chess. The IRA threat was fake.
Method
Do
directing.
you go ahead, Roston?
You guys, there was this thing, so they have carriage scenes in this, right? And they're not like rear projection. There are people actually like in a carriage fit for film cameras. Well, they got tired of the horse clip-clop noises and the amount of like kind of shake. So they had the crew pull the carriages for the carriage
Fuck
scenes.
yeah.
They just had people just going for it. Which
Yeah, imagine your first day of the job. I'm a PA. I'm ready to work in the film industry. And this fucking weird looking man, Stanley Kubrick, comes up to you and says, "Hey, did you put your name in the God of the Fire?"
Pretty much college for me.
Oh, God.
That's true. Cody Suizo once worked on one of my sets, and we had to put him out of his misery.
Yeah, you told me to mount this like 100-pound light. Just hoist the light, and I was like, all right.
Here's the thing. I think you're joking, but that also sounds like something I would have told someone to do.
You see, the thing is that is 100% true and did happen. Problem is that film never came out.
We had to evacuate the set for safety reasons. In a way, Cody, we were dealing with our own IRA hit list.
I think we were in more danger. They were a lot closer.
Infinitely more danger. Never forget, angry guy on the set. There are guns here. We should get out.
There's also a poster of Danny DeVito in that house. I wonder if it's still there.
I don't remember that at all. Is there?
Yeah, because when I hoisted that 100-pound light up, I looked in the garage and there's just a poster of Danny DeVito just staring right back at me. It was a beautiful scene. I know I have the image. I'm gonna find it later for you, but yeah, Barry Lyndon. Yeah, me. Barry Lyndon, huh?
Does everybody have a favorite scene?
I don't know. You know what? The duel. Because I remember watching this movie for the first time and I found something so incredibly moving. There was something profound about Barry Lyndon refusing to take advantage of the fact that his stepson fucked up.
Yep, the look in his face.
He was like, no, I'm not doing that. Oh, a movie built on him intentionally climbing on the back of people's failures. And especially after there's an implied 10 years of emotional and physical abuse between Barry Lyndon and his stepson, to refuse to take advantage of that, it's really interesting.
I have to say that mine it's a sad choice, but I think the moment that Brian is lying down and asks to hold both of his parents' hands is just so touching and so devastatingly sad. When a child has to comfort the parents when the child is dying is, oh my God, I was tearing up. And I think what I like so much about it is Brian really is the only thing, it seems, that Barry really loves in a truly selfless, non-transactional way. Like, he's not really like, you can give me something and I can level up my own status. I mean, I know he is thinking about his son's own future and status too, but not in like a how does it benefit me way. And so when that is taken from him, it does kind of really start to knock those dominoes over of like, oh, like things are really, I mean, the first domino is really when he and Lord Bullingdon, is that his name? What, I'm blanking.
Lord
Bullingdon. When the abuse is exposed, you know, that really is like a big social hit. But I think the one hit that really just was so visceral was when Brian was killed from the horse. Oh God, I mean, it's a sad scene, but I think it's such a necessary scene because I think the first half of the movie, part one is fuck around and part two is find out.
That's what
I mean, it really is.
Been. Part one, fuck around, part two, find out.
Yeah, and I think
that's the version of the movie that someone like intentionally cuts in 21 Savages a lot into.
Oh,
that's gonna be the remake you were talking about earlier.
And I did show, I made my partner watch Barry Lyndon with me today, and I did also show him the 21 Savage fan edit afterwards because it's a sacred text at this point, so it should be in the Criterion.
I'm telling you, if Barry Lyndon, next time it's in the Criterion or whatever, if they do like a Barry Lyndon 4K, I don't know if it's in the Criterion already or not. If it's not in the Criterion, they should put the 21 Savage video on the bonus features. I'm not kidding. I sincerely think a lot of people have been introduced to the movie at this point from that video.
It is Criterion, by the way.
It is on the Criterion. So when they do a 4K re-release, add that bonus feature.
Let me look at the features. 21 Savage. Oh wait, there it is.
Oh!
Wow.
Did it?
Guys, what if we like remade Barry Lyndon and it starred 21 Savage, directed by Spike Lee?
Okay, but does that mean we have to make a fan edit of like 21 Savage with like classical music then? Do we gotta do the reverse?
Yes.
Yep.
Duh.
Dun, 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 dun.
What I really think.
Sorry, I didn't mean to bust out Four Seasons Autumn on you.
What it really shows.
What I'm getting
Oh, I'm sorry. You
Sorry,
go.
go ahead, Sydney.
No, I'm yapping about the 21 Savage. I'll say really fast. I think it's really interesting because it does show the themes of the song. Like, I'm sorry, the themes of the film are pretty. You can translate them to different genres and to different time periods, and it's still kind of like, oh yeah, that's like a guy doing things and wanting power. And I think the 21 Savage edit shows that it is something that can be really universal if the circumstances are right.
In our modern era, Barry Lyndon 100% SoundCloud rapper.
What the hell, sure.
I was not told that the 21 Savage video was mandatory to watch before Barry Lyndon. I might have given this.
You might have liked it more, Cody. I'm not kidding. You might have liked it more.
I guess it's like you gotta watch movies a certain way, certain screens. I didn't know I had to listen to 21 Savage first. That's my bad. My views now are completely invalid. That's my bad. That's Tanner's fault. You didn't tell me.
I didn't tell him about this. That's on me.
So, sorry.
Cody, do you have a favorite scene in Barry Lyndon, much as you found it tedious?
Well, I mean, I would have just said like the scenes with like the candles because they look genuinely beautiful and it's very impressive looking. And I was also gonna say the scene that Sydney mentioned where Lynn just beats the shit out of Bullington. But following her like very emotional talk about like the child death with, I like the scene where Lyndon just snaps and beats the shit out of somebody. I didn't feel good about that. The fist fight near the beginning is probably my favorite scene because it's
Fun fact: Ryan O'Neal was an amateur boxer growing up, so he was able to bring them skills to that scene.
Yeah, and it looks really good because of it. It looks very
what's the better beat the shit out of somebody scene in a movie? Barry Lyndon beating the shit out of Lord Bullington, or Daniel Plainview beating the shit out of the priest and There Will Be Blood? What do we think? What do we think, guys? What's the better beat down?
I gotta go with Barry. Barry Lyndon on this one.
I think I also have to go with Barry.
I'm gonna go with Barry by virtue. I haven't seen There Will Be Blood, so.
Of course you haven't.
You're gonna love it.
I already told you this in the previous episodes.
Make sure you watch the 21 Savage edit before.
There Will Be Blood. 21 Savage edit and There Will Be Blood.
No,
honestly, you could probably do the same thing.
Yeah, we'll make it happen.
In time.
April Fool's 2026.
Also, what's your favorite scene, though?
The one where he beats the shit out of Lord Bullington.
Yeah!
All right, I'm glad I didn't steal your answer now. I feel better.
It's a pretty good scene.
Narrowly, grazed by a fucking... thank you. Yeah, it's just sort of like watching all of these, people in, 18th century clothes in this undignified sort of brawl. It's just so good every time it happens. And, it's a big release. Also, just the specific fight choreography, the way he goes after Bullington is so dirty. You really just see that this guy's a piece of shit by the way he fights. And also, the scene before that adds to it a lot. The kid coming in with the clamping shoes. The whole
That's the best part. That's the best fucking part. Just it's so obnoxious. It's so funny.
Another scene I love in Barry Lyndon is the scene where he saves everybody in war, basically. Only because I think it shows something interesting. That if Barry Lyndon just, I don't know, gave a shit and applied himself even the tiniest bit, he would have been successful in life. It's kind of that interesting thing, how you point out a lot of times that cheaters in school oftentimes go through more effort to cheat than would have been required to get the grade legitimately in the first place. Kind of feels like Barry Lyndon went through life with that mindset, that he went through so much effort to do things the wrong way in order to get the right results, that if he had just done it legitimately, he might have gotten close. Would he have been able to get kind of into high society without marrying someone? I don't know, but also, shit, maybe.
Maybe he wouldn't have lost a leg and ended up penniless and childless and ruined a fine family fortune.
Yeah. There's a lot of scenes like that shows that Barry Lyndon is a legitimately skilled individual that just didn't apply himself. It's not like such a fucking high school teacher. You just need to apply yourself, Barry. You just need to apply yourself, HBO's Barry.
Yeah. I mean, he's far from prodigious.
Haven't seen it.
He's he's far from being a prodigy. I think he just is used to skating by, like being just good enough to skate by. And I think that's reflective in like Ryan O'Neal's looks and casting and stuff too.
I agree. It's just good enough.
And maybe he could have harnessed that just good enough energy into honing it into some type of craft, but he did not. He was just like, I'm a gentleman and therefore I should not have to work.
He was like, I'm a gentleman. I should be able to fuck my cousin when I want, where I want. And honestly, it seems to me that this entire series of bad decisions in life, if he had just gotten laid once, not necessarily by his cousin, but if he had legitimately had sex with a woman once, I think it would have calmed him down.
You mean like before he like met Lady Lyndon? Because he has a lot of he gets a lot of ladies.
Okay, I know he fucks that German peasant lady. I'm just saying before he shoots a soldier. My thesis is falling apart the more I think about it.
He's an incel, and that's why.
He's an incel. Barry Lyndon incel question mark?
Perhaps.
Barry Lyndon volcel question mark.
Volcel.
What?
He does not seem like a volcel.
Okay, so incel is involuntary celibate, so a volcel is a voluntary celibate.
Like a Christian? Like a person with somebody chaste, right? Okay.
Like a Christian.
I don't know. There's a lot of people who are voluntarily celibate.
I love Madonna's song "Like a Christian."
Like a volcel.
Jesus Christ.
Like a volcel.
Did any of you watch this with subtitles?
Yes.
Not recently.
Serious question.
I did.
Cody watched it with Russian subtitles, is what I'm getting.
No, they were Spanish for some reason.
Perfect.
So don't worry, I got double the experience. I basically watched it twice.
Like, since the DVD came out, the subtitles have translated the foreign language scenes, and in my opinion, there's enough of the foreign language stuff that it should have subtitles. So I was a little bit floored when I found out that when this was released in theaters, no subtitles on the French or German scenes. And I think it goes on long enough that Kubrick is fucking insane for not putting subtitles on that shit. I don't know, bad move.
Just learn the language. I'm sure
Kubrick didn't want to ruin his shots with text at the bottom.
The version that I watched had subtitles, but not for the foreign language scenes. Like I was watching it with English subtitles.
So it just said just German language.
And it just said like foreign language. And the only ones I even like vaguely... Actually, I'm sorry, I misspoke. There were subtitles, but they were not translated. They were literally just phonetically like... I'm not phonetically written out, but like the actual French and German words. So I was like, oh, that's helpful. I wish I knew what that said.
At least you know how to pronounce it now.
I knew the French vaguely.
Me off. In subtitles, you ever notice this in subtitles sometimes? The English subtitle will say speaking in foreign language or speaking in Spanish, but those subtitles will be over the burnt in subtitles of the movie, so you can't read what the thing, because clearly you're supposed to understand it because it's burnt in subtitles. But the fucking subtitles cover that happens sometimes, and it pisses me off. It's like nobody used their brain here.
Yep. Oh, the Netflix upload of Kill Bill Volume 2, all the Japanese scenes do not have subtitles. Like the one you can go and watch on Netflix, they forgot the Japanese subtitles.
Good luck.
What?
Scene. Yep.
You need to... Okay.
Yeah, I hate it when a movie's like just starting out and I'm trying to enjoy like the intro credit sequence and it says subtitles by Explosive Skull. That like fucks with me every time.
The Explosive Skull?
Only real ones get it.
Is that the sequel to the 50s movie Screaming Skull?
That vomiting at the end, did you guys know that he vomited for real?
Yes.
It looked too convincing for it to not be real.
What happened is that he was given a lunch of some of the heaviest ingredients that they could find, hoping it would make him sick enough on purpose. When it didn't, he just went, all right, fuck it, and ate a whole raw egg.
Yup.
And instantly threw up back it up. And I would like to say on the IMDb trivia note, it says Stanley Kubrick was immediately satisfied and did not ask him to repeat the process. A genuine rarity for Kubrick, who was notorious for shooting multiple takes. Could you imagine making yourself vomit on film? And Kubrick's
24
like,
more frogs, please.
let's do that about 30 more times.
I got a few dozen eggs.
I'll be as large as a barge.
Yeah,
That-
this was
that
the
actor-
moment. This was the moment that he decided to make Leon Vitali his production assistant.
I was gonna say
fucking
he was
barked
his
like that.
assistant. Yeah, that's crazy.
The
I
guys,
didn't know that.
they were like this. He's like he's genuinely like an authority on a lot of Kubrick stuff since his passing. Like if you watch the special features on the Blu-ray, he pops up a lot. He might be like the single person who worked with Kubrick the most, or at least maybe knew him the best. You know, like if somebody's like, what's supposed to be the aspect ratio on Eyes Wide Shut? Actually, they just go ask him. He was close. He was close to Kubrick, and Kubrick made it. He did egg.
When Barry Lyndon loses his leg at the end, Stanley Kubrick suggested that Ryan O'Neal get his actual leg cut off when the double didn't work. Now, to me, that's obviously a joke, but according to Ryan O'Neal, he was not sure if Kubrick was joking or not.
Yeah.
And honestly, I kind of believe him that would be genuinely unclear to him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Kubrick's the kind of person where, like, if Stanley Kubrick came out to me and said, cut your leg off for real for the movie, I'd be like,
all right.
Shit, maybe. I fucking...
Do you want me to add anesthetic? Do you want me to just do it raw? Okay.
He should
Cody
have
does it raw, confirmed.
The guy who played the doctor
Hello.
standing nearby for added effect. Like, just the saw. That would be good.
What if he just starts actually cutting his leg off and Ryan O'Neal starts going, ah! Stanley, stop! Stanley! Jesus Christ, Stanley, make it stop!
No, it would've been
Ryan just keeps completely breaking the fourth wall. Stanley!
And Stanley's like, can we do that again? Can we do that again?
Kubrick's like,
That wasn't a good take.
give me the other leg. Get the other leg.
Kubrick, we only got 2 takes of this.
Stanley, no!
It's a horror movie, but it's just director Stanley Kubrick.
Stanley Kubrick is my favorite horror movie villain.
He is one of the best.
This is a lesser known trivia fact because it's like he doesn't pop up in the credits. But they had this fancy lad consultant, Lord Patrick Plunkett, who would come to set and teach them. Lord Patrick Plunkett. He would teach them about like how rich people did rich people shit. Lord Plunkett was responsible for like helping them get some of the locations that they were in, like the big houses. And while they were filming the scene where Barry gets introduced to that one king, Stanley was like, how the fuck would a rich person introduce somebody to a king or queen? So Lord Plunkett, in his fucking audacity, went to a phone and called Queen Elizabeth II. The queen actually spoke with Kubrick on the phone. And apparently she was like delighted by the film set stories. So yeah, this random fancy lad consultant got Kubrick in touch with the queen. Which
You said
neat.
it, and you said his name was Lord Plunkett?
Lord Patrick Plunkett.
That's crazy. I didn't know the red letter media guy that did the Star Wars reviews also did something else.
Yep.
I think there's a Plunkett mentioned when in the movie when
Plunkett mentioned?
Brian is like, oh, but the Plunkett's son rides horses. Easter egg.
I want to pause the movie in that moment, have Sydney point at the screen going, Plunkett mentioned? Plunkett mentioned?
Leonardo DiCaprio in Once Upon a Time in
Plunkett
Hollywood.
mentioned? Plunkett mentioned?
I've seen this Plunkett.
Yo, can I get a Plunkett counter on the screen, Tim? Tim, can I get a Plunkett counter? Tim is not going to edit in a Plunkett counter. He is not going to do that shit.
He's just thinking, God, I'm glad to leave this for a month.
Yeah, Cody, now you have to do the bullshit. You excited?
No, the problem is if you told me to do the Plunkett counter, I would, because I think that'd be too funny to pass up.
Yes, that's
so
what I
keep that in mind
hear.
for the episodes I'm working on.
I'm gonna say Plunkett counter every episode now.
Also, I guess we're now saying that I'm gonna be doing the episodes in November. So
He's gonna, because Tim's getting married, guys. Who knew? We knew. We're all going to the wedding. Well, not Cody, because Cody hates Tim.
I'll be too busy working on the episode.
Doing this, I guess.
Someone's got to man the fort.
All right. We're running on like over 70 minutes at this point, right?
Yeah.
Let's wrap this up to give poor Tim a break. Sydney, what are your final thoughts on Barry Lyndon?
There is not a lot that I could say that hasn't already been said, but I will reiterate that
Plunkett mentioned?
That if any movie that mentions Plunkett is a 10-star film for me. that's what I'll
Plunkett
say.
mentioned?
We need a soundbite of just like Plunkett mentioned anytime.
Plunkett mentioned?
Oh, Tim, I'm sorry. Please don't count my Plunkett.
Plunkett mentioned?
Anyway,
sorry, Sydney, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. It was worth it. I don't want to say the P word, but it was worth it for the counter. All that to say, it was it was really good. I loved it. I loved it. It's my favorite Kubrick movie. It's one of my favorites, I think, ever. And so many people I know that like Kubrick know the big names like 2001 and Full Metal Jacket. I almost said Full Metal Alchemist. I had to stop myself. Full Metal Jacket.
I do the same thing.
Exposing myself. You know, and A Clockwork Orange and Eyes Wide Shut and all of those films and Dr. Strangelove, people know them, but I feel like Barry Lyndon is just kind of nestled snugly in the middle, and it's not one that is as widely spoken about. I think those who know, they know, but I was talking about it with my mom today, and I was like, have you seen it? You would love it. It's so your cup of tea. She goes, I don't know what that is. And I'm using my mom as a metric for like what I assume a lot of people, like, she's a movie person, but not like us keen-eyed cinephiles, but just kidding. But
they not like us. They not like us.
And that is what that song is actually written about.
Barry Lyndon. They not like us.
People do not know that. Say Barry. Say Plunkett. Anyway, yeah, so
Plunkett mentioned?
I was waiting for that.
Plunkett mentioned?
I'm glad I'm at a point now. I'll end with this by saying I'm glad I'm at a point now where I feel like I've kind of grown in my taste
Austin,
a lot.
do you Plunkett mentioned?
Plunkett mentioned? I'm glad I'm at a point now where I have kind of evolved a little bit in my taste.
Plunkett mentioned?
And
Plunkett mentioned?
I am glad that I'm not so bound to the thoughts that I had when I was younger and feel like I still have to be a Clockwork Orange enthusiast when Barry Lyndon is where it's at. I love everything about this movie. I think it is one of the most beautiful and revolutionarily shot films I've ever had the pleasure of watching. Ryan O'Neal is such an interesting choice, and I can only think about if this movie was remade today, what kind of actor would play him, because Ryan O'Neal probably on paper wouldn't be the one that I would be like, that's him. It would probably be like Paul Mescal now, if I'm being honest. But yeah, all that to say, incredible experience. It's all part of the gift. I'm really grateful that I get to watch movies like this because it makes life worth living. Anyway, back to you, Tanner.
I'm glad you bring up Paul Mescal, only because you bring up Paul Mescal. I think of that story I read on the internet that Paul Mescal will like sleep with someone and then take him to a park in the woods, or just take them apart and then just fucking take off running in the opposite direction, which, to be honest, sounds like something Barry Lyndon would do in this movie.
Oh, God.
I don't know if that's true about Paul Mescal. Honestly, I kind of hope it is, because that's really fucking funny. If so, could you imagine having a wonderful date? You sleep with someone and then you're walking in the park next, takes off running.
Well, he's dating Gracie Abrams now, so I think she like probably caught up to him. You know, like he probably tried to run and she just
Gracie got them wheels. Gracie caught up to Paul Mescal was like, what the fuck? She ran after me? You're like, I didn't think they could do that. Austin, what are your final thoughts on Plunkett mention?
Stanley Kubrick spent his whole career trying to show us next level shit. He showed us men going crazy, he predicted the future, and he dragged us at light speed into a different dimension one time. But this movie about some asshole trying to figure the world out ended up being the most transcendent thing he ever made. And of course it bombed at the box office. Leave it to fucking brain genius to put his best film in such an unassuming package. Guess he was playing 5D chess. Fuck it. Back to you, Tanner.
Cody, what are your final thoughts on Plunkett mention? What are your final thoughts on Barry Lyndon?
So during the downtime, I did watch the 21 Savage video, and I'm redoing my review now. So I'll give it a bit of a bump up because of it. So
there we go.
I want to believe. Did you actually watch the 21 Savage video while we were talking? Yes.
And yeah, there's already a 4K remaster of it and everything. It's a very beautiful video. It changed my entire perspective on the movie.
Doesn't it? Isn't it wonderful? Unironically,
Yeah,
it's such a good video.
It is genuinely amazing. Barry Lyndon, very pretty movie. And sure, my dumbass might not appreciate it as much as the others, but you know what? It's still a Kubrick movie, and the worst of Kubrick is probably better than most things in existence. So
that's true.
What can you do about it?
I like the Barry Lyndon. It's my favorite Stanley Kubrick.
Plunkett mentioned?
Plunkett mentioned. Plunkett mentioned? Plunkett mentioned?
She Plunkett on my...
She Plunkett on my mention till I run away like Bomb Squad.
And now the episode is over. Thank God.
You so much for watching this episode of Bomb Squad. Plunkett mention? Thank you so much for watching this episode of Bomb Squad Matinee. We really appreciate it. If you are listening on any of the audio platforms we're on, thank you so much for listening. It means the world to us. How about you go down, leave us a review? It helps boost us in the algorithm or something. I don't know. I just work here. And if you're listening, how about you mosey on down over to our Patreon? $5 tier gets you access to commentary tracks when we occasionally decide to release them on a hopefully quarterly basis at this point. Ideally monthly, but realistically quarterly right now. It's been a busy time for all of us. And the $10 tier gets you access to a shout out. So my mom, Tanya Craft, thank you so much for supporting the show. And if you're not done giving us money, how about you mosey on down over to our merch store? Cody's wearing one of the t-shirts we sell. We sell a hoodie with a similar design. We have posters, some magnets, some stickers, some good stuff on there, a few different hats. Go ahead, add some stuff to your cart, check out. Helps us make money. And if you're watching on YouTube, thank you also very much for watching. We really appreciate it. How about you mosey on down in the comment section below and let me know, what's your favorite Stanley Kubrick movie? Is it Barry Lyndon? What do you think of Barry Lyndon? What do you think of Ryan O'Neal's performance? Do you think Ryan O'Neal is a douchebag? And finally, Plunkett mention? Question mark. Comment below and let me know. And while you're down there, hit the like button so you know how much you like us. Hit the subscribe button so you know how much you love us. Hit the bell icon to know exactly when we upload new videos. Thank you so much for watching. Tune in next time when we talk about my favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie. That's right. We're talking about the 2000 masterpiece, Unbreakable. Should be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see you there, Cody. I don't even know if you're signed up for that episode, but you are now. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll see you then. Bye.
Slid my ticket across the table and I said, sorry guys, I gotta see about a girl.